Morjes, welcome to Rauta. Today I will talk you about a Finnish band that is not exactly the teacup of the most of the audience here, but nevertheless it's kind of a metal related and it was sent for me for review. So here it goes. This one is called Turmion kätilöt with their late album called Global Warning. This actually came out earlier in April, I think. I'm not exactly sure about the exact release date, but who cares really? It's already a little bit late. Now, why this is metal related with this kind of industrial sort dance stuff? Well, it's a curious thing, but let me just convince you. This band has a lot more to do with metal, even though it's basically kind of a dance floor pumping industrial music. First of all, there are these distorted guitars, which are very much related to metal music. Secondly, all these guys are more or less metalheads doing kind of a metallic version of, let's call that dance beat industrial stuff. Whether it's about lyrics, whether about it's these guys wearing sort of corpse paints, or the vocal range used, which is then again more or less related to kind of a black metal, shrieky style. This is very much sort of a metal band, even if not pure in so many ways. Now the curious thing is actually that a long time ago, well, actually only a few years ago, one of the main guys of the band, one of the main vocalists of the band was actually the same guy who is nowadays and has been for quite a long time doing vocals for Horna as well as Baptism and Trollheim's Grot. So there's a strong link between Turmion kätilöt and then again metal music, even though for many people this doesn't really represent what metal music is all about. But then again, these kind of bands are always been there to kind of shake things up a little bit, and whether you not like this kind of music or not, at least it's there to make sure that nothing is really so safe and being kind of old school and old fashioned. Now, I'm one of the first ones to say this is really not my cup of tea. I've never been a fan of the band. As entertaining they can be on stage, as offending they can be with their visuals. Like these recently, their latest music video wasn't exactly released on YouTube, but one of those porn sites doing videos, Pornhub, PornTube. I don't really remember. I watched the video. It wasn't as offending, I guess. I was kind of expecting. I was looking for something along like Rammstein's Pussy video. Not that far, but yeah, some nudity, some gory violence and all that stuff. So these guys are not exactly afraid to shake some things off and make you rattle and all that stuff. But I know with their music, then again, it's not exactly most of the metal audience, let alone one with, Rauta channel. Anyway, Turmion kätilöt is nowadays actually signed to Nuclear Blast, which I guess explains how this is even more metal or tied to metal than ever before. I mean, these guys have been doing indie stuff. They have been signed to so many smaller metal labels, but now Nuclear Blast is gonna just blast them away. Oh, sorry, I had to use that. Throughout the world with their stuff. But the curious thing is, no matter if it says global warming here, which is a nice wordplay, I guess, all the lyrics, all the songs are still in Finnish. Even this Mosquito Á la Carte is still in Finnish lyrics. So everything you basically hear this kind of requires you to have some understanding of Finnish, and then with that kind of stuff you can pretty much understand what's going on there. So while this band is maybe flirting with a lot of humor and dirty stuff and nudity and all that stuff and being kind of a grotesque in their doing, the music is kind of a mainstream, One could even say Turmion kätilöt is the Finnish equivalent to what Peter Chekrin of Hypocrisy, the death metal band that is doing with Pain. Very danceable, very machine beat-like, kind of a easy to listen to kind of a music. But where Pain is even more mainstream, Turmion kätilöt is more about kind of doing it the kind of a twisted way. once again, those raspy vocals and all that stuff. So it's not that easy to listen to than one might expect. And those guys having their ding-dongs waving around on stage and doing corpse paints and nails and whatnot, and having this kind of a black metal imagery despite going full-blown with their kind of a danceable music. It's kind of a weird, bizarre thing. I think only countries in the world that are able to do this kind of a stunt are Finland and Germany. Germans because they're kind of a crazy, weird, and that way kind of a creative, and Finns because, well, some Finns just don't care. Call it the booze, call it the desolation, isolation, whatever, I don't know, but there's something in the drinking water. People do this kind of a crazy stuff. Now, this being a long introduction to this album, which is then again kind of a very safe in the context of being Turmion kätilöt album. Not exactly safe if you think about dance music, not safe if you think about metal music. This is far from being this one of those old-fashioned, old-school, traditional albums. But those who know what Turmion kätilöt is all about, I don't think this is gonna be a mind-bending, mind-blowing experience. It's much like if Rammstein, whatever they do, is going to be a Rammstein album. This is very much the same thing that Turmion kätilöt is, just repeating Turmion kätilöt way. And by the way, nothing wrong with it. That is especially if you're a fan. But those who never been a fan of this band, not likely to change their course or opinion with this album. Now, wonderfully produced. I mean, the guitars sound strong and the vocals are right there, to fit the music. This is something that kind of requires to have this kind of acquired taste. People who are into danceable metal and don't like that this might be showing a middle finger to the whole scene or whatever, they just probably will enjoy it a lot. I mean, it's kind of easygoing and you don't really have to be a metalhead to enjoy this kind of music. But those who are more, say, traditional, old-fashioned, or just require a certain level of brutality or sinister sound, dark kind of a feeling with your music, well, Turmion kätilöt is not for them. It's not for me. It's not for most of my friends in metal. But I kind of understand what they're doing, and I kind of respect that they're doing their very own path. Whether I like it or not, I think they are doing kind of a wonderful job just, waving those middle fingers. It's not so much about trolling the scene. It's just that these guys are doing their individual thing, and as such, big respect. But for the music, not so much. I mean, for me, this sounds very mediocre in so many ways, apart from the production, which is, once again, top-notch. So, kind of a hard, kind of a tricky album to review in such manners that whether I like it versus whether I actually appreciate what these guys are doing. Much appreciation, but not so much liking the music. I guess that tells a lot of about this album, at least if you're familiar with the channel and my opinions in general. So those who have never touched the music, well, take a look at the links and give it a fair chance. Maybe they will convince you and you will fall in love with the band. But then again, it's more than likely that you will go the other way. Well, all that being said, click and give this band a chance, give this album a chance, and who knows, maybe you will find something to love or hate. Take care, be well, see you soon with more reviews coming your way.